Sometimes on the internet, you'll come across a rabbit hole that's impossible not to go down. A call to action that's inconceivable to refuse. And today, we have one of those. I was recently contacted by one of you guys who sent me an exposure document regarding a very niche creator, and looking through it, the document seemed like a very juicy one. And knowing what I know now, this story is so much bigger than I had initially anticipated. The story we have today is not a work of fiction, so please be mindful. So today, we'll be discussing an online artist and animator that goes by many aliases, such as General Sausage 14, RandomStickfigure Guy, and RandomStickDude. For the purposes of this video, we'll be referring to him as Stickfigure. He's been active on the internet for a little while now, creating art and online content, which is fairly questionable, let's say. However, recently, very serious allegations were brought towards him after a Google Doc was posted which has potentially exposed him of dastardly deeds. Now, before we start, I think it's best for me to clarify that these are just allegations. One person involved reached out to me and sent me this document, and having gone through it, I felt as though it had enough credibility for me to make this video. However, for every accusation that I make, I'm only going to refer to what's present in the document and what we can infer from that, as well as what the alleged victims have told me. So even if it seems as though something is guaranteed, I don't want to say it is for certain without having some sort of evidence to back it up. This is, to the best of my knowledge, the very first time that this story has been told on YouTube, and I want to make sure that I get it right. Also, before we start, I don't want to stop this video halfway through when it gets really good and tell you guys to like and subscribe. I'm just going to remind you now, if you find yourself enjoying this, please do not forget, like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what kind of content you want to see me do next. And if you know of any other exposure documents that you want to see me cover in a video, then make sure to link them to me on Discord, Instagram, or Twitter, and I'll give them a look. If they seem reputable, then maybe I'll cover them in a future episode. With that said, I hope you're sitting comfortably. Let's open up this document and see what's inside. So this document is 37 pages in length and contains dozens upon dozens of screenshots of inappropriate art made and also DMs. Now usually, if a document is as long as this, I only give the highlights, but because this story is the entire video, I'm going to go into much more depth. Let's take our time and walk through this document from front to back to see what claims have been made. So the document starts off with a notice that the person involved should not be harassed, clarifying that the document was made to spread awareness of what he's done. This is something that I want to reiterate. Though it might be quite difficult these days to track him down for reasons that we'll get into in just a moment, please do not witch hunt. So how else does this document open? The document also begins with a message from someone that goes by That One DJ, and they claim that RandomStickfigure was between 18 and 22 years old when he had been inappropriate with minors, exchanged not safe for work art with them, and potentially groom them. So that's the meat of what we'll be delving into. So let's delve into the actual evidence, beginning with someone known as Cassidy. She writes, "When I was around 15, I used to look up to him, so whenever he would ask me to draw something for him, I would do it. But I never understood why he would ask me, a minor, to draw stuff like this, even after I told him my age. I never thought much about it because I was too young to understand what he was doing. It felt weird making this type of art for someone I looked up to. I was nervous to show him, almost like my head was warning me not to show him." Above was a screenshot which, provided it hasn't been altered, showed a Discord user, Ken Stick, who is alleged to be Stickfigure, asking Cassidy to draw his OC with hers. For reference, OC means original character. This is a new character made by the artist, and it's a good term to get used to because it's going to be used a lot throughout this video. This is Stickfigure's OC, known as Random Stickman. We can also see in another screenshot that messages were sent weeks prior showing that Stickfigure was 19 at the time in July 2023 and Cassidy was 15. For reference, that means that Stickfigure was born at some point between July 2003 and July 2004. Now, the document does not show which specific drawings Stickfigure is referring to, so it's best to withhold judgment for now. Because the next person we're going to discuss, known as Victim X, included a lot more evidence. And this alleged evidence would paint a much worse picture for Stickfigure. Victim X shared mountains of screenshots of what Stickfigure is alleged to have sent him, We're talking at least a baker's dozen of erotic drawings sent between 2024 and 2025, and that's only what we can see. The image ends when the page ends, and to me, it seems as though it would carry on going. Maybe it's just an error on the document's part. Regardless, these images include girls in those Japanese schoolgirl outfits, a female character that's depicted in at least 4 of these images, and Stickfigure's OC in women's lingerie. Also, in one of the drawings, RandomStickfigure is getting cheated on and cucked. And the reason I bring this up is because his name is dropped literally within the image, so there's definitely a link between this female character and Stickfigure. Below is a message sent by Victim X over Discord, which reads, "At the most recent one, the last one, I am 17. Was too stunned to speak, so I just said awesome sauce, but mostly 16. The very first one, the oldest, I was 15. Although there are more, I recall him sending these sorts of images all the way back to when I was 12 to 13. Hard to remember since trauma and whatnot. He also used to be very pushy and asked to RP. I'm not sure if we ever did ERP though. He would also ask me to draw NSFW of him and or suggestive images of his OCs. Worst part, I wouldn't get paid half the time." So just to dissect that, it appears as though most of the images included in this document were shared in 2024. Therefore, we can assume that Victim X was 16 in 2024 and would be 17 now, especially as they state I am 17 instead of I was 17. Keep in mind that Stickfigure is right now 21 to 22 years old, although the document claims 22. So the further back their relationship goes, the worse it looks for Stickfigure. But of course, Cassidy and Victim X weren't the only victims. Next up on the document is someone that goes by Buff Billy Bill, who shared quite a long statement on his experience with Stickfigure. Pause now if you care to read, but long story short, he claimed to have broken up with his ex in 2024 and was made aware that Stickfigure had been hitting on her. This seemed to be quite recent because the Discord message was screenshotted that day. According to Bill, Stickfigure is 21 and his ex 17. To make matters worse, Stickfigure allegedly sent drawn NSFW images of the two of them banging and what I assume to be an image of his OC grabbing her ass. This, according to Bill, was not drawn with her permission. So once more, if this can be believed, it's not a good look. The allegations don't stop there though. Next up is the claim that he engaged in erotic roleplays with someone known as Olive. The document claims that Olive was 14 to 15 years old, and it does not include any messages from this user. However, it does show Stickfigure engaging in some sort of simulated intercourse over text. Not really too sure why people do this, to be honest. All we know is that the two of them were messaging for at least a year, and that Stickfigure gets very flustered in these roleplays. We can also see in one of these screenshots that Stickfigure's name came up 685 times, so we can presume that they messaged quite a lot. Moving on, we have another victim who is named as Evan in the document. It's claimed that while Evan was 14, Stickfigure was 21. And Evan's segment includes Discord screenshots of Stickfigure sending them NSFW drawings as recently as August 2025. What this tells me is that if the document can be believed, Stickfigure's reign of terror has been going on for a minimum of 3 years. Some of the drawings here, despite being censored within the document, I still don't think are safe for YouTube. I'm inclined to believe that this is an OC of the victim, given that all of the images sent to them are of Stickfigure's OC and this one character that keeps popping up. And this feature of reoccurring characters is also present within the final victim's messages. They too wish to remain anonymous, but included several not safe for work images of random stickman banging what I assume to be their OC. The document ends with a statement essentially telling him to get stuffed, but it's really weirdly written, so I'm going to save you the hassle. It essentially just calls him out. So that might be the end of the document, but it's not quite where things end. To dig deeper into this, I contacted a few people that claim to be victims of Stickfigure. This is what they had to say. What did RandomStickfigure do that you're aware of?
Okay, things that I know that he did that I'm aware of is that he did say some weird stuff to some of my friends, like in the apology video, or not the video, the apology post, he mentioned that he said something weird towards a friend, that he said that it was totally unintentional or didn't mean it in that way. He literally said, "Oh, I would date you if you were my age." The person at the time was considering themselves as like I think 14 or 15, and I think they might have been actually like 14, and he was like 18 or 19 or even older. That was like roughly a year ago and some change. All the other stuff was back then, but he was between the ages of 18 and 19 when most of us were 14, 15, maybe the highest 16. Um, I don't know if I really doubt that you would use this at all because it's YouTube, you know. I know it's YouTube, but the one of my friends told me that he sent them the link to one of his Newgrounds videos when he posted it, and it's just straight up porn. He drew straight up porn, and he sent it to a 15-year-old. My friend sent me the whole clip. I had to screen record it because he couldn't screen record on his. He couldn't send me the video on his end for some reason. But yeah, he literally sent him the video.
How many do you think he might have had?
I'd say roughly under like maybe 20 to 30. Roughly, because the thing is, a lot of them were my friends. There could have been easily more that I didn't know because the reason why I found out about all of this was because I recently made an artist server with a lot of old friends that knew Stickfigure. And when I made the server, they realized he wasn't in it. And they just started coming out to me and venting to me saying, "Oh, you still friends with Stickfigure?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And they're like telling me some stuff that he did. And I was having issues with him at the time because him and Caden were talking a lot, and like he would switch sides. He would talk shit about me, and then when I confronted him about it, he's like, no, Caden just said that stuff. And then when I asked her, she was like, "No, that wasn't me." It was more later into our relationship, so I didn't really see an issue with it. But like, it was later on when he drew himself and her and said, "quote unquote surprise," or like, "Yay!" Like, that's not a surprise. That's not something that friends ask for. That's not something they casually do for each other. Okay, majority of us met him through TikTok. A handful of us met him through Twitter or Instagram, but he was blowing up on TikTok. I forgot the exact amount of followers he had, but he had a high amount. Started talking a little bit. I joined one of his lives. He gave me his Discord server, and then I met him, and that's how we became friends. I met a lot of my friends through his server and through his, just through him.
Now, when I interviewed these victims, I made sure to do it individually so I could see whether their stories lined up. And I found that they did. Probably better than I could have ever imagined. You see, when I spoke to Billy, he mentioned the Discord server in passing. But when I spoke to Olive, that's when I found out much more about the place.
It was like a while ago. It was like early 2021 when I first met him. I was like 12 years old at the time.
You were 12?
Yeah, I was 12 at the time, in the early 2021. Keep in mind, like, it's a Discord server filled with 11 to like 14-year-olds. There's like very few older people. If those 11 to 14-year-olds, if they were weird, then he'd be weird. If they were nice, then he'd be nice. But I feel like it was just mainly like, if he got close to the person, then he'd start getting weird.
Okay, so you're saying he also had a Discord server where he would interact with mostly 12 to 14-year-olds, and he at the time, back in 2021, I'm trying to think, he would have been like 18-ish?
I believe so. Like, I'm not sure when his birthday is. He'd be like around 17, maybe.
Around 17, yeah. How many people as well? So you say you're in a Discord server. So do you know of other people that were in this Discord server that were treated inappropriately by Stickfigure?
At least 10 people. Like, at least 10 people I've known or met, like, had a past with him. But I'm not sure in detail, like, what had happened to them, like, why.
Other people were also saying that the people that you know that were part of this Discord server, the 10 of them or so, were all also 12 to 14 whilst he was 17 years old.
Yes.
So you got to know Random Stickfigure. Eventually he starts acting inappropriate. Do you know when that would have been?
Oh, I actually don't have the year, but it was when I was 14 years old and newly 15. Yeah, that was around 2 to 3 years ago. But there's like been a couple of times back then when he had a Discord server where there'd be underage people, like, again, like 12 to 14-year-old, who would like post NSFW, and he'd like allow it, I feel like that was kind of weird at the time, and I also felt like I was one of the only few people who like found it weird that he was letting this happen.
So
With him knowing there was like a lot of young people. Yeah, and even if like a GIF was sent, no one like out of the NSFW, no one would like really care, like especially not him. I felt like I didn't get a lot of support back then, but again, we were all like little kids and we didn't know better. And now like me thinking back on it, Stickfigure and like whatever other adults, I'm not sure if there was any adults now that I think about it.
one thing that I noticed when I spoke to Olive was that she claimed that Stickfigure became inappropriate with his victims after getting to know them more intimately.
I feel like it was just mainly like if he got close to the person, then he'd start getting weird.
Now listen to what Evan had to say in a voice note that I was left.
So me and him were like normal, right? And then I showed him one of my characters and he drew normal art of it. And then whenever our friendship progressed, he started making weird art of my character, even asking me to draw it too. Until one day he just blocked me out of nowhere. I thought like I did something, but no one like told me like he got exposed for like these act for being a like pedophile. And yeah.
Having spoken to 3 of these victims now, I am more confident than ever that this is the truth, and that Stickfigure was operating on a mass scale. But first-hand accounts aren't the only links of evidence that we have against him. Throughout my conversations with one person that worked on the document, they sent me ample amounts of artwork, both safe for work and not safe for work, that Stickfigure apparently made. And after looking it over, one thing is for sure, Stickfigure definitely gets his jollies by drawing his OC in lingerie. There's another image of him in a Sailor Moon style outfit, which, if we remember back to the document, was sent to victim X. This is yet another link. Another piece of evidence that suggests that Ken Stick is Stickfigure. There are also characters that I was sent, which do appear to be drawn in Stickfigure's art style, and they do look tremendously similar to other images that were sent through Discord to people that were allegedly minors. Around this point, word got out that I was doing a deep dive into the sins of Stickfigure. Keep in mind that the document details about 8 or so people that were victims of Stickfigure, and this person, who we'll be referring to as Victim Y, shared with me some screenshots that showed how Stickfigure knew that she was not an adult. They claim that the pair started talking when they were 11 to 12 years old, and Stickfigure was 17. In these screenshots, you can see Stickfigure trying to convince them to keep contact, mentioning that he has a lot of younger friends. Well, we all know that, now don't we? Just like Olive, Victim Y claimed that he wanted to ERP with them. This is yet another link, another way that the stories cross paths. And it doesn't even end there. Between me and you, I thought that I had finished this video about 4 or 5 times, and every time I thought things were wrapped up, I'd get a message later showing me even more evidence, such as a screenshot apparently confirming the existence of the NSFW channel on Stickfigure's server after the news broke, or an image of Stickfigure behind the mask. Ladies and gentlemen, but especially boys and girls, if you see this man, you better run. Because if the claims can be believed, which given the mountain of evidence I think it can be, if you see this man, you are in grave danger. Finally, I was sent an animation which was supposedly made by Stickfigure, and I'll play a portion of it for you right now. There's no audio to it, but it's quite short, so let's roll that clip. After this, it cuts to straight up animated porn. Billy, who sent me this, claimed that he had received it from a victim. I don't think I need to say how this female character has popped up throughout art that we've seen him send to many others. And let's not forget, this is his OC. This is his character. If he's being framed, whoever's doing it has been very busy. And just to top it all off, the behavior repeated at least one more time, because I was sent yet another screenshot of yet another victim admitting that he had inappropriately contacted her too. And soon, we'd get some answers. I was sent a screenshot of a Discord DM exchanged between someone that went by Alien Baby and another user. Upon doing a little bit of digging, I was able to find this image of Alien Baby's profile, where it shows that his name is RandomStickDude, and RandomStickDude is, to the best of my knowledge, one of Stickfigure's aliases. So within this DM, the person that I suspect to be Stickfigure writes, "Dude, I'm such a terrible person, I admit it. It was so fucking stupid to do any of this shit. I just figured as long as I didn't do anything too crazy, I'd be alright, but even so, the stuff I did is still very bad. I feel very bad for making people uncomfortable and having them do all that stuff. It pains me even thinking about it." If you notice, the RandomStickDude tag is present in both his Alien Baby and Corrupt names. This is the same person, and therefore proves that these are legitimate messages that he sent. Now, this message, provided that it's been unaltered, does show Stickfigure admitting to doing something bad, but he doesn't say what that is. He never utters here what specifically it was that he felt bad for. However, later, a community post was shared that did confirm things. The post is quite long, so I'm not going to read all of it. Much of it is just circling around the same topics, but in short, it claimed that he had been exposed on Discord and by this document. He did admit that he exchanged NSFW art with minors. He admitted to telling someone that if they were older than 15, he'd date them, which he claimed he wasn't thinking about how crazy that sounds when he wrote that message, pleading with people to give him a second chance, and also sharing that he would continue taking a break. It appears as though roughly a month went by between the time he was exposed and the time he wrote this message. However, if you look at the account that this was sent on, @GeneralSausage14, these days, it's barren. No videos, no community posts, no signs of life. As you can see, it's also very obviously changed its name and profile picture. The thing is, Stickfigure claims to be accepting responsibility, but then he goes and takes this post down and removes all of his videos, which to me seems like he's trying to run away from things. It seems like he's trying to dodge accountability a little bit more than he's trying to own up to it, because why else would you take this down? In all likelihood, I think that this is probably the last we'll see of Stickfigure. It's possible that one day he comes back under a new username, but as for the RandomStickfigure brand, it's dead in the water, tainted by what he's done. His YouTube channel is now abandoned, as is his TikTok, which appeared to have been just shy of 3,000 followers before its deletion. You might be asking yourself, what's next for Stickfigure? Or as I like to call him, Sickfigure. Well, I'm not sure, but I do know what's next for you. If you enjoyed this episode, then why not check out my video on the Go Animate Gooner? In that, I go over the story of a Go Animate creator that was exposed for quite similar things to Stickfigure. After a Discord call got screenshotted and leaked, his evil empire crumbled right before his eyes. If you enjoyed this, then I am certain that video is right up your alley. Check it out by clicking the video on the screen right now, you absolute legends. Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.